Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the screens light up with messages. Every communication channel across human space was buzzing with emergency signals. After 3,000 years of silence, something big was happening. Admiral Lisa Carter called an urgent meeting at Terra Station. All the top military leaders gathered in the main conference room. Dr. Kevin Barnes sat at his monitoring station, watching deep space sensors that had been quiet for longer than anyone could remember. The message came through, clear and simple. The Galactic Council had decided humanity was ready for contact again. But this was not the friendly greeting anyone might have expected. A voice spoke from the communication system. It belonged to the Zephyrian Empire. They represented 12 different alien species and controlled over 400 star systems. Their message was direct and cold. The ancient Armistice was over. The peace treaty that had kept humanity locked away in their small corner of space for 3 millennia was officially ended. The Zephyrians declared immediate war on the human race. They said humans had committed crimes against galactic civilization. Commander Amy Sullivan read the alien demands out loud. The Zephyrians wanted humanity to surrender all their weapons within 30 days. They demanded humans submit to galactic authority and prepare for complete occupation of their worlds. Colonel Pete Johnson was the first to start laughing. The sound echoed through the command center. Soon every other officer in the room joined in. The laughter grew louder and louder until it filled the entire space. The aliens had no idea what humanity had become during their long isolation. While the Zephyrians thought they were dealing with a primitive species, barely able to travel between stars, the truth was very different. Humanity had spent 3,000 years preparing for exactly this moment. Every day since the Armistice began, humans had been getting ready for the aliens to return. They had built weapons the galaxy had never seen. They had developed technology beyond alien understanding. They had turned their entire civilization into a war machine. The officers kept laughing because they knew something the Zephyrians did not. The aliens thought they were declaring war on a weak and helpless species. Instead, they had just challenged the most dangerous predators the galaxy had ever produced. The 3,000-year wait was finally over. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do. General Frank Miller walked to his command center and pressed a red button he had never used before. Across human space, hidden bases began to wake up from their long sleep. These secret facilities had been waiting for 3,000 years for this exact moment. Captain Rose Phillips received her orders and smiled. She commanded the first wave of ships that would emerge from underground hangars scattered throughout human territory. These vessels had been built in complete secrecy, hidden from any alien eyes that might be watching. Lieutenant Commander Tony Walsh stood in front of massive weapon systems that looked like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. While the aliens had been comfortable in their empire, doing the same things for thousands of years, humanity had been busy. They had spent every single day creating new ways to fight and win. Dr. Susan Clark activated the manufacturing centers with a simple voice command. Thousands of robotic factories came online at once. They began building war machines at a speed that would have seemed impossible to any alien observer. Each new weapon used technology that had been developed during the long years of waiting. The aliens thought they knew about human industry from the old records. They remembered a species that could barely make simple tools. They had no idea that humanity had turned their entire civilization into one giant weapons factory. Sergeant Major Bill Hayes trained the new soldiers, though most already knew how to fight. Humans had never stopped having wars among themselves during the isolation period. Every conflict had taught them something new about battle. Every victory and defeat had made them stronger and smarter. Admiral Chris Thompson reviewed battle plans that his grandfather had started and his father had improved.
3,000 years of military planning had created strategies the aliens could never imagine. Every possible scenario had been considered and prepared for. The hidden asteroid bases opened their doors for the first time in centuries. Millions of ships floated out into space like a metal swarm of angry insects. Each vessel carried weapons that could destroy entire alien fleets. Space stations that looked like simple mining operations suddenly revealed their true purpose. They were massive gun platforms with enough firepower to level planets. Communication networks that seemed basic were actually military command systems more advanced than anything the Galactic Council possessed. Humanity was ready. The 3,000-year preparation period was over. It was time to show the aliens exactly what they had awakened.
The Zephyrian fleet entered human space with complete confidence. Admiral Zarthok had conquered dozens of worlds before. He expected to find frightened primitives hiding behind their single planet. Instead, his sensors detected something that made no sense. Commander Diana Foster sat in her control room and watched the alien ships approach. They moved in old patterns that human military computers had studied for centuries. Every formation, every tactical decision was exactly what the battle simulations had predicted. The moment the alien fleet crossed into human territory, automated defense platforms opened fire. Thousands of hidden weapon systems activated at once. Energy beams that could cut through any known armor struck the Zephyrian ships from every direction. The alien fleet had no time to react. Their shields, which had protected them against other alien races for millennia, crumbled like paper. Their hulls, made from the strongest materials in their empire, melted under human weapons designed specifically to defeat them. Captain Roy Bennett led the human counterattack before the aliens could even send a distress signal. His ships moved faster than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen. Human vessels appeared and disappeared using stealth technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. The battle was not really a battle at all. It was more like a demonstration. Every alien tactic had been anticipated. Every move they made played directly into human strategy. The Zephyrian forces found themselves outmaneuvered, outgunned, and completely helpless. Lieutenant Rachel Stone's teams boarded the surviving alien ships with ease. Their powered armor allowed them to walk through enemy fire without taking damage. Their enhanced abilities made them move like ghosts through alien corridors. What should have been fierce fighting became simple cleanup work. Admiral Zarthok tried to retreat, but human ships had already surrounded his entire fleet. He sent desperate messages to the Galactic Council, but human jammers blocked all communications. No one would know what happened here until it was far too late. The Galactic Council waited for news of their easy victory. Instead, they received reports that made no sense. Their most powerful fleet had been destroyed in minutes. The primitive humans had not only survived the attack, but had completely annihilated their attackers. Admiral Helen Wright coordinated the next phase of human operations. While the aliens were still trying to understand what happened, human forces pushed directly into Zephyrian space. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council emergency meeting was unlike anything in their 3,000-year history. Representatives from 12 species sat around their crystal table with faces full of fear and confusion. Their greatest fleet was gone. Their most advanced weapons had failed completely. Ambassador Paul Taylor entered the council chamber wearing a simple human diplomatic uniform. He carried no weapons and brought no guards. The aliens looked at him like he was the most dangerous being in the galaxy, which was probably true. The council leader, a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms, spoke first. His voice shook as he offered immediate peace negotiations. He promised the humans anything they wanted if they would just stop their advance into alien territory. General Mary Rodriguez had already captured the former Zephyrian capital. Her forces moved through alien space like a wave of unstoppable destruction. Every defense they encountered crumbled within hours. Weapons that had protected alien worlds for centuries became useless scrap metal. Dr. Alan Price examined the alien technology in their captured facilities. Most of their so-called advanced equipment was based on principles that humans had mastered hundreds of years ago. The aliens had stopped learning and growing, while humanity had never stopped improving. The alien prisoners were treated better than they had ever treated their own conquered enemies. Colonel Sandra Lee established medical centers and proper food distribution for all captured alien personnel. Many of them had never experienced such kindness from their captors. President Jack Russell addressed both human and alien populations through captured communication networks. His message was simple and clear. The old galactic order was finished. No single species would ever again rule over others through force and fear. The terms humanity offered were fair, but firm. The Galactic Council would be dissolved immediately. All member species would gain complete independence. The slave races that had served the Empire for millennia would be freed and given their own worlds. Humanity would take responsibility for keeping peace in this section of the galaxy. They would protect the weak from the strong and ensure that no new empire could ever rise to repeat the mistakes of the past. The 3,000-year quarantine was truly over, but the galaxy belonged to humanity now.
Admiral Victor Kane stood on the observation deck of the new galactic headquarters. Below him, representatives from 50 different species worked together for the first time in their history. The old empire was gone, replaced by something the galaxy had never seen before. The former slave races welcomed human intervention with open arms. They had lived under alien oppression for thousands of years and finally tasted freedom. Captain Michelle Davis commanded patrol fleets that made sure no single species could ever dominate the others again. Dr. Carol White led teams of human scientists who shared their knowledge freely with all alien races. Medical techniques that could cure diseases, manufacturing methods that could end poverty, and energy systems that could power entire worlds became available to everyone. The transformation was remarkable. Planets that had been strip-mined to feed the old empire began to recover. Species that had been forced into slavery started building their own civilizations. Trade networks based on fair exchange replaced the old system of tribute and exploitation. Commander Steve Turner established the new trade councils where every species had an equal voice. Resources flowed freely between worlds, creating prosperity that reached even the poorest alien communities. The galaxy was becoming richer and more peaceful than anyone had imagined possible. Human peacekeepers patrolled the trade routes and settled disputes between different species. They used the minimum force necessary and always tried to find solutions that helped everyone involved. Their reputation for fairness spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The old Zephyrian leaders were given comfortable retirement on peaceful worlds where they could live out their remaining years in safety. Many of them admitted that the human system worked better than anything their empire had ever achieved. New schools opened on hundreds of worlds, teaching young aliens about democracy, science, and cooperation. Human teachers worked alongside alien educators to create a generation that would never know the fear and oppression of the old empire. The galaxy expected conquest and destruction when the Armistice ended. Instead, they received liberation and hope. Humanity had spent 3,000 years preparing for war, but they had also learned how to build lasting peace. As human ships patrolled the star lanes and human diplomats worked to solve problems between species, the galaxy slowly healed from centuries of abuse and neglect. The Armistice had ended, war had been declared, and humanity had won something far greater than any military victory.